Okay, we're back. It is the Take It Deep podcast, stripped down, quarantine edition. I have two special guests that I'm really excited to speak with. I'm still working out of home. It still is terrible. As I said, it's like pirate radio. It's like I'm in the middle of the ocean and I'm broadcasting without my necessary tools, but we are still going to get it done. No worries, folks. And as I shut the audio,
where'd he go?
Just to see, yeah. Well, you just see how you become popular is you just disappear once in a while and you keep them coming back. So, first things first. This is another happy hour edition, gentlemen. We are going to talk about a lot of things. Mike Paluguez is with us again, second time around for him. He's no longer a virgin.
What's up, party people?
A little bit better. Yeah, a little bit better endurance for your second time. So Jim Vatcher, also on the show today. I actually played with Jim Vatcher, okay? Played with him. We're going to get his bio, his background, his whole thing. He's coming all the way from the left coast, as they call it, with Michael and I pinned down on the Northeast, which seems to be the hotbed of all our issues, depends who you believe. It is happy hour, so I will say I've begun. I got some of this going on. Mixed in my Yeti, and I always describe why I use the Yeti. I'm going to tell you why I use the Yeti. The ice doesn't melt. I need climate control, right? So now I don't need to worry about drinking something watered down because the ice melts. I don't need to think about even be bothered with something warm. Climate control, folks. That's why I go with the Yeti. I drink booze out of a Yeti. Yes, correct. Mike, last episode, Mike had the textbook white trash Bud Light Lime that I remember. What are we going with this time?
Well, to be courteous to my neighbors, he brought me some. He's Guatemalan. Mr. Carlos brought me some Guatemalan rum here. It's not in English, the label, so I don't even know the proof on this thing, so it should be interesting. And pairing that with a Star Wars mug. Thank you very much.
I mean, so you might have to tell the wife. The wife might have to sleep in other quarters tonight. I mean, that's where this could be dangerous. This could be dangerous. Jim, who I've known forever, and I know he is somewhat of a connoisseur. He likes beverage alcohol. Not intimating there's any problem or anything like that. He's a man of many flavors. So Jim, what are we going with today? Happy hour.
I'm going with a local beer from our neighborhood brewery here. Three Weavers. It's a beautiful thing. I haven't had a beer in, it feels like a month or two. I don't know why. I've had plenty of tequila and whiskey, but not beer. So hey, thanks for giving me the excuse to drink this. It's freaking phenomenal.
Well, that's what this is. See, I dressed it up as a happy hour show and a new thing, and it's all just an excuse to drink while we podcast. So before we get going here, let's get a little background on who is Jim Vatcher. I'll give him a couple humble brags. I played with him at the pro level. He was probably the best all-around player I ever played with. He is nothing but a true professional in everything that I've ever seen him do, whether it was legal, illegal, whatever. He always did it right. We had a very interesting experience. Him and we got to live overseas for a decent stretch of time. I was 23 at that time, and in a much different social and headspace than I am obviously now at 43. And I would say, and this is just me going out on a limb, by the way, I don't know if Jim's going to tell you this, had a fantastic professional baseball career, played in the big leagues for 3 different teams, no problem, just got right up to the top 1% in the world, got it done. That's what he does. He just gets it done. Now, when you could talk for a little bit. When I joined the team and got there a little bit right after the season started, I got signed. And I think there was a little shift in the social atmosphere once I got on board. Feel free, don't pull any punches. All we have to fear is fear itself. So just give a little background on yourself, the whole thing. Anything you want to say, the floor is yours, my man. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. Well, the word on the street was when you came out, you were a bad influence on me, and That was what everyone was saying. Oh man, Chris comes out. We never see Jim again. He's out every night, which is not really true. What happened when you came, that's when I caught fire. I was this close to going home, to being sent home in Italy. The day you came, I went 3 for 4 with a home run, and the other guy that was on the line got shelled in an inning and a third. He got bounced. I stayed. I caught fire. I needed you there. That's the bottom line. I needed you to broaden my horizons, get me out a little bit. And hey, look, I played amazing after that point, and we ended up winning the championship. It took to the last at bat in Game 7, but we got it done.
And so there's hammer home's the point, right? Like, you know, you can't take what people say, the whole rumor mill. You heard it here. I was probably the reason we won the whole thing. There's no question about it. Number two, you know, we could say one thing, right? The nighttime and, you know, the availability of the social atmosphere in a different country with let's just say, alien versions of the opposite sex compared to what we were used to in the States, and most of the time in a good way, although everybody still smokes cigarettes over there. Terrible. I couldn't deal with that. Past that, I mean, it's just smoke show after smoke show. That's the way it worked. It was what it was. Anyway, you know, we had that, you know, that taste for the nightlife, right? But if you remember, and I'm sure you will, I was still the first guy at the yard the next day, doing everything I needed to do, even more, always conditioning, always running. So when anybody had a problem, especially, you know, upper management, there was a conversation with me, and I just told them, dude, we got to get past this because this is not slowing down and we're not losing. Now, if we would have lost, you may never see me again. You may never see you again. Like, people don't realize you play overseas, especially there, they're sending people home. It's not like the U.S., you know, the U.S., you get released and it's okay. No. They send you home the next day. Like, you just go home. Like, it was as cutthroat and Wild West in that regard. And we probably didn't even realize it, but we had to win or that was it. Like, there was no, hey, that's all right, we'll get them next time. This team was put together to win the championship. And then for some reason, they tried to derail it by signing me. They tried to blow that, right? And then that whole thing backfired. And it was a very unique situation, a very unique time. And, you know, if I never did it, I never would have met Jim. And I don't think he'd probably say the same thing for good or worse. He never would have met me. Yeah, 2 peas in a pod. And I'd love to take all the credit while Jim became the best player in the league. It didn't start till I got there. So let's just call that what it is.
Thank you, sir.
Just to give everybody else some background, me and Michael, Big Mike, as I call him, met at one of my previous stops as a coach. Michael joins our athletic department as an assistant athletic director, and we pretty much after maybe 4 or 5 hours figured out, okay, this is going to work out.
Right.
You know, we had that similar personality, a lot of common interests. Michael Palugas, by the way, one of the strongest human beings I've ever seen in my life, ever in my life. The guy runs about 6'5", anywhere from, you know, we could list him at 290. He could be anywhere in the, God, who knows, right? We go into the weight room. I'll never forget this. We go into the weight room. And by the way, me and Mike Palugas, champions of P90X. We completed the whole program. The whole program. We did it 6 a.m. every day before work at one stretch, right?
That's terrific.
That's true. P90X, which I think originated in your neck of the woods, Jim. That was a West Coast beach body thing, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got the DVDs on these two, you know, jerk offs. There was like 5 people doing it. So long story short, one day we go into the weight room, and Mike goes, "Yeah, you know, I haven't bench pressed in a while, right? Let me just throw some weight on." So I'm like, all right, whatever. We throw on 315 and it's butter, just butter, just like this, not stopping. And I'm like, listen, I don't know if we have enough 45s in the weight room. Like, we added a couple more, and it's just off the nipples, just locking. So, Mike, give me an idea here. And I know we've talked about this. I forgot the number. playing college football at a high level, obviously, and then you had to get ready kind of for the combine tests. The 225 bench, how many reps did you do?
I did it 32 times at my pro day, 32. And there was a kid there who did it 45 times. And I watched it. The guy was unbelievably strong. But I did it 32. I was happy with my results. But you got guys doing, like defensive backs doing that now. It's kind of crazy how the evolution of sports has taken something so simple, a simple task, and has evolved it into something so ridiculous as a metric from a accounting standpoint, you know.
But from the aspect of the reps, like, do you think that is something that it does equate to overall strength, correct? But you train long enough, you'll be able to get those reps, and you train for that particular exercise. 100%. You can get your reps up, right?
100%. There's different activities you can specialize in to build that muscle group up. You know, it's like anything else. You know what I mean? It's like being a good pogo stick jumper. You can, you know, flex those muscles and be good at that. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of those tests you see in the NFL Combine, it's funny how they base those people on tests. And you guys who play sports, there's no in-game test, right? There's no in-game skill set there. There's a different mindset that comes from playing the game. There might be people who are quote unquote slow, but when you see them on tape, they are flying around, right? Because they don't have a desire to show off, you know. But when they're in the game, you know, they're flexing a whole different mindset and different muscle group there.
Well, Jim, I think you'd agree that's probably in baseball. It's all about the 60, right? But who the hell cares about running 60 yards?
Can you steal a base?
Correct.
Can you catch a ball in the outfield?
Right.
You know, that's a strange test, to tell you the truth. A 60-yard dash in baseball. First of all, you're running you're turning left all the time.
Yeah.
You're turning left before that. You never run a 60 if you're running a 60 in a baseball game, there's something wrong with your pitcher. I can tell you that. Something going horribly wrong that day. It's a strange test.
After too much Jaeger. That's what's going on.
You know, and it's what's in the heart. Are you a gamer or not? Are you a gamer? You know, they're missing that. They're missing that. Are you a gamer? Can you get it done? It's not all about physical strength and speed and all that stuff. But yeah, that's nice to have. But look, there's a lot of guys overlooked that are gamers. You were a gamer. I was a gamer. That has to be looked upon. You know, you got to ask questions. You gotta look for that. It's a big deal.
And that never leaves. I mean, you're always a gamer. You look at me. I'm a gamer. I put my feet on the floor. I'm a gamer. Bachelor parties, sports, whatever I do, I'm a gamer. Mike was at my bachelor party. He can tell you, gamers. Just gamers everywhere.
Gamer, 100% gamer, 100%.
The wolf knows other wolves. That's how it works. So, give us a quick rundown. I already hit on it. Successful college career for you, Jim. Then into the minor league systems. Got to the big leagues, 3 different teams. Like I said, no big deal, just the big leagues. We're talking about strength. Real quick, who's the strongest guy you played with? Anybody come to mind? Like, just pure strength. You know, you played with, obviously, a lot of people coming around now that are Hall of Famers. Anybody just jump out to you?
Well, I can tell you this. I played against Jose Canseco in spring training in 1990 or 91. I was in right field. He took a swing so aggressive. I was in right field, not third base. He took a swing so aggressively, he buckled my knees in right field. He didn't even hit the ball. He swung and missed. He buckled my knees in right field. That's strength. That comes to mind right there. When you can buckle someone's knees in right field and you don't even hit the ball, that's getting it done.
Holy smoke.
That is one of the funniest things because, and this is a true story, I'm at Yankee Stadium. I have to be, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 tops. And the Yankees were playing against Canseco, and we're walking to our seats down left field, moving from, let's just to picture it, moving from home plate towards left field, going to our seats. So I'm looking at the game over my shoulder while we get to our seats. Canseco is up, okay? Canseco is up. He wheels on a ball, wheels on one, hits it into the stands kind of by us. And I remember doing the same thing. I remember, like, my knee buckled, and I was like, how's a human being do that? Like, that ball was, it turned into a golf ball and just watching just his hands come through. Now, Jose Canseco was a walking chemistry set. We know that. But that being said, you still have to be, and that's strength. Like, that's strength. I'm sure when you get near a guy like Bo Jackson, you get near a guy like really anyone today, no matter what, But the Jose Canseco thing, I had a story about him too. I'm sure there's a lot of stories about him, but that's funny you bring him up. That was that shook me. So you're out on the left coast. You're in California. Your proximity to LA is super close. Give us a little idea. How's that like there in the Northeast? We know how Mike and I are somewhat close to each other. This is the hotbed, one of the hotbeds for, unfortunately, what we're going through. What is California like right now? I mean, I know it's a lot of open air. I know it's a lot of beach. I know you're an avid surfer. What's that whole scene like right now?
Well, I think we're doing a good job. It's look, it's 70 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. It's been that way for a month. We are very spread out here. As you know, we are not dependent on public transportation. We're a city that we're a social distancing city. Look, 5 million people get into 5 million cars, close the doors, roll up the windows, and go to 5 million jobs. We're not in close quarters for the most part. Some people obviously have to be, but I'm right by LAX. Okay, so we're one of the busiest airports in the world right here. I'm right down the street from LAX right now. I drove through it the other day. I thought I was going to get arrested. Like I broke into a place that I was trespassing or something. I was one of 5 cars in there. You're usually one of 100,000 cars. I was one of 5 cars in there. I literally thought I was going to get pulled over. It's weird. It's weird everywhere, but I do not know one person that has this coronavirus, which is a good thing. People seem to be following the rules. The beaches are closed, which is a bummer because that's where a lot of people go to, get outside. The hills, the trails are closed for the most part. So people seem pretty relaxed here. There was a demonstration in Huntington Beach about an hour south of here. There's some natives that are very restless. We're all restless, but for the most part, we're spread out here. We're patient. We're following the rules, and we're doing well.
What about the surfers? I mean surfers it's a big culture. They getting them out of the water, or?
So the surfers, man, they had to travel. They were going south and they were going north, and then they just shut down those beaches just recently. And so these guys are going to be on suicide watch. I can tell you that. Oh, it's brutal. And what's happening right now in the water, it's super cool. In the daytime, it looks like it looks polluted. It's brown. It's terrible. There's a red tide. At night, it glows. It glows. When the waves break, it glows like this blue. I went down there the other day at night, and when, if anything moves this water, there's these organisms, it's a bioluminescence. They let off light. And so I was coming down this hill, I saw the first wave crash, and it was just a blue light across the ocean. It's insane. And no one can really, I heard the sirens, whip, 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 whip,
I know that sound.
They're 100 feet apart. We're not hurting it. Whip, 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 whip. It's like, shut it down.
But the one question I have is, you get to the LAX parking lot, like you said, you're used to it being packed. It's wide open. I mean, how bad did you just want to rip the gas and just do donuts in that parking lot?
If there wasn't, if I didn't see the cop cars every spaced out, I wanted to see if I could drift around these corners. I wanted to see if I could make a 30-second loop on this thing. Usually it takes 40 minutes. I wanted to badly, but I already felt like I was imposing, like I was trespassing, because it did not feel right. I was like, if I got pulled over, I swear, officer, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not flying anywhere. I'm just looking around, right? I was scared, but I might try that at some point,
Yeah, we got to take. I need a dashboard cam. We got to see how that whole thing. So, do we have people wearing masks? Do we have because around us, and Mike can attest to this, everybody looks like Mortal Kombat. Everyone's a ninja. Yeah. Everyone's got their mask on. Do you have that going there, or no?
No, a lot of people are. If they're going to go into a store, obviously, when I come into the office, I put it on. I'm not really seeing anybody. If we're anywhere near each other, we put it on. But for the most part, we have wide open streets. People are walking. If someone's coming down the sidewalk, the same direction. Someone will peel off into the street. And I would say with the mask out and about, it's 20-30% masks. Yeah.
I love, and Mike, you know this. I love the people that wear their masks when they're driving in their car.
I noticed it.
What? I just look to my left, my right all day, and I see people masked up in their car by themselves in their vehicle. What is that? Is it coming through the? Is it coming through the air conditioning?
It's crazy.
And the windows are up. The windows are up. The roof is closed, and they're driving with a mask and looking at me, and I'm looking at them, going, I just don't get it. So today, I got a good one. Today, I go and get food from a restaurant. So how it works right now, for those of you who don't know, most restaurants are doing takeout, right? So you go up. This restaurant I went to had X's in tape 6 feet apart from each other, and 4 people can stand outside while 1 person is inside picking up. Okay, so that's how they're doing it, which is safe and it's great. So I get on my X, and we all have masks on. So the X behind me is open. So this guy comes flying up. He's frazzled. I can tell this guy he's on tilt, and he doesn't know what to make of this. He's fumbling around with his mask. He puts it on. He gets on the X, and then the guy is like reaching and grabbing for things. He's brushing at me, and I'm like, I'm not freaked out anyway, but I can tell this guy's a mess. Okay, so we're just waiting there. So it's awkward. You don't know anybody, and the guy goes, "Man, God, I just can't wait. Like, this is so wearing masks. I can't wait till this is over." He's like, I just can't get used to this. So I look at him, and I don't even know how I thought about this. I just looked at him and I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty used to wearing a mask. I wear one for work." And he goes, "Oh, like, what do you do?" I go, "Oh, I'm a bank robber." And I just stared directly at him. I stared directly right in his face, and no expression. I just stared directly at him. So he looks at me, and he gives me the kind of the head tilt. He's waiting to laugh, and I just stare at him, and I don't say anything. Silence for the next 15 minutes. We're online, waiting. This guy thought Jesse James was standing in front of him. I was just staring at him the whole time. I didn't say a word. I mean, that's where I'm at. I have to just have fun with this. Like, why not? I rob banks.
I saw a meme the other day. It was Ice Cube from NWA with a bandana do-rag, and it says,
I remember that,
1990 rapper. And then it goes to like a regular person, 2020 shopper. It was like a grandma wearing the same thing.
I remember that. I remember that look. So we're all kind of in this mode of whatever that mode is. And you start to forget that there's other, like, life is still going on. So let me tell you what snuck up on me. The other day, 2 days ago, actually, all of a sudden there's a commercial about Mother's Day. And I'm like, Mother's Day? When is that? So then you look at the calendar, you have like 11 days, right? So now you guys can relate. We're husbands. As soon as you become a husband, and then, obviously have kids, we have kids, you're on the hook for Mother's Day twice now. You got your mom, you got to go wife, right? Now we're on the hook. I have no plan. I have nothing. So then I get on Amazon. Guess what? They're delivering by August 4th at this point for anything that resembles Mother's Day. Right? So how did we get here, first of all? Second of all, I mean, are you skating by with the excuse? I mean, are you guys, don't give anything away in case the wives are listening, but are you guys prepped? Can you use the pandemic? Is a pizza going to be enough? I don't know. You know what I mean? We're in trouble. We're in trouble.
Yeah, I definitely felt that. Because I usually wait till the last second and then I do something right. And then I was like, oh my God. So I did the same thing. I went on Amazon. It's like, nearest delivery date is, way past Mother's Day. So anyways, I had, I don't know if you know the musical Hamilton. I had 5 tickets to that for Mother's Day. Oh. And we were going to LA and the Pantages, and that shut down. So I have a picture frame.
All right.
How's that? I have a picture frame. I'm going to have the boys take a picture. We'll get a picture of the boys. I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. We'll write something in there, and I'm going to try to pick up some sushi for the night and give it a go. But yeah, it's weird. I don't even have a card. I guess I'll make a card. I don't know. Do I risk my life going into one of these places for a card? I don't know, but I might. But yeah, it was weird. It hit me the other day, just like you. I'm like, oh man, I got to get on this thing. And then it sneaks up on you, especially when Amazon takes a while.
Here's what's great about the whole card thing with me, okay? I'm way behind you in terms of age. My guy's 2.5 years old. I get a piece of paper, he scribbles in a crayon on it. That's a Mother's Day card. Everybody's happy. So that's the good news. Mike, you've got your hands full over there. I know your tribe, but they're all. Your youngest is how old?
She's 5. Yeah, she's 5.
So you go 5 all the way up. So
I go 5, 5, 11, and almost 13.
So you guys are kind of in that same boat.
Yeah.
The quarantine kid thing is, well, you guys are in a different spot. I'm still under constant surveillance. It's I said this on another episode. It's WWE Hell in the Cell for 20. Like I get up, he gets up, it's on. It's on. You get the little nap, and then you get the bath, all that nonsense. But it's chaos. So when my wife is at work, because sometimes she does, she's a nurse, saves the country, saves lives, she's a hero, all those things. It's chaos. It's recklessness going on in the house because it's full daddy daycare. Recklessness. I make up games that are completely dangerous. He loves it, but it's chaos. When you guys have your age, and Jim, you probably are a little bit easier. You can get outside. It sounds like a little bit more where you are. But Mike, give me some details. Is it just PS4? You got homeschooling?
So it's weird because like this whole Corona thing, I feel like the weather is like making this worse. Like our weather only got nice today. Today was like the first clear sky above 65 degrees. It was like people are out in droves. It's crazy out there right now. But prior to that, it's been raining every other day. So it's kind of like, all right, the kids, they do their work. By 1 o'clock, it's like, all right, go play video games with your buddies because that's their socialization, right? That's how they're replacing playing with their friends and seeing their friends. They have video stuff with their video games, but it drives us nuts. The fact that these kids live on a screen, they live on a PS4, like they can't live without it. It's like an addiction that like we've created because it was like an early convenience, and now it's like, oh my God, how do we stop this? And you really can't. So today we're like, dude, I have the Google Internet. You could turn it off on the kids. So I turn it off on my kids, and I'm like, go outside. So the kids were literally outside. They're playing basketball. They're playing wiffle ball, right? And like 20 minutes later, they're like, yeah, we're done. We're gonna go back to our video games. So it's brutal. But we went for a drive today because it was a beautiful day out. But yeah, it's definitely different. Like the kids, now that they have no school, it's like they have no bedtime. They want to hang out like it's a frat house every night. My wife and I, like, they go to bed after us now. We used to be the last ones up, and now the kids are like, you hear them. They're like meddling around with their friends. It's like, dude, go to sleep. Like they can't stop.
So both of you guys are in that homeschooling age. I don't have that. And let me explain something about that, first of all. I'm just picturing, how do you even – listen, right now I'm watching The Sopranos over again. If it's time for school, like, my answer is you got this, right? Because like season 3 is starting. I'm not. I need at least 2 hours. Like, let me know how the geometry goes. So how does that work for you guys? Is it? I mean, Jim, you have to be. Is it set hours? How does that whole thing work? It's alien to me. Again, I have constant surveillance. There is no homeschooling. I'm getting schooled, but it's a whole totally different thing.
Yeah, so every once in a while, my youngest has to get up for a Zoom meeting with his class at 9 a.m. And you'd think we're getting them up at 4 a.m. for this thing. Like, are you kidding me? I got to be up at 9 a.m. for this thing? Like Mike says, they're going to bed like hours past us. It's like, I don't even have a life with my wife anymore. It's like, look, my wife, thank God, is a teacher or ex-teacher. She was an elementary school teacher for 20 years. She's got it. She's got it. She takes care of it. She's on it. I don't have a clue what's going on. I know that my youngest especially is bored out of his mind with this stuff, and it's a complete waste of his time. My oldest seems to be doing his thing, Every once in a while I get the call from the school, the automated call from the school. Your son has not turned in every assignment. It's like, what? What happened? And he gives me some excuse with the hair in the eye. He's 13. Like, I don't know what's going on. My wife is in charge. I get out and I go to work for an hour. So, but look, I'm glad I don't have a 2.5-year-old, brother. Good on you for surviving this long. I don't want that one. I don't want that one. That's a tough one.
Yeah, well, especially when you're boxed in.
Yeah.
And as Mike said, our weather has been awful, and me and my wife look at the forecast, and if there's rain and we can't go outside, we're in trouble. We know we're in trouble. We know it's going to be just Armageddon because he needs to go out and run. He's that type of kid,
Yeah.
and it just so. I'm used to living and dying with the weather anyway. As a coach, you're always worried about rainouts. I can't get away from it. I'm looking at this thing nonstop to make sure we can, be outside and run some energy off. Like you got, and listen, video games aren't even a thing. So it's, but I'm trying to inject it into his vein. I'm getting him hooked on the phone. Give me a little bit of a breath. We're getting them addicted, which is probably not good.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're building that addiction, dude.
But I've been looking around, and this is actually one thing it hit me today. I don't know why. I'm noticing people. I don't think that any of the three of us. Speaking of the devil, I don't think the three of us deal with this because we can pretty much cut our own hair the way our hairstyles are, like that. So, but I mean, you've got no haircuts, no access to salons, and let's be honest. I mean, there's a lot of chicks out there losing a little off the fastball, right? Because it's all real now, right? Like it's a little. I haven't seen people on TV, and I'm like, wait a minute, what happened here, right? What happened here? Just it's crazy to me. You take that for granted, but all of a sudden everyone has to look like they should, and that's getting scary. That's getting scary a little bit. No offense to anybody. Our beautiful wives don't deal with that. They got it all. They keep it tight. I know, but I mean, I'm seeing some people that they're in need. They're in need. It just makes you. It blows my mind that imagine all that upkeep that they were doing, right? You don't realize they're putting in the hours because you see them now and they're not even the same person. Not even the same person. So it just everything is just so the whole entire world. Now, Jim, you live in basically. People always tell me, well, New York is very vain. LA is a different planet in terms of it's all about the looks. It's all about the time I spent out there. That's what it's all about. That's all money and looks. Blah blah blah. All those nights on the strip I was out. That's what it was. So, I mean, are you noticing that in the capital of that's vain central in terms of vanity central? LA is built on that.
Look, if they can't get their Botox, they just put the mask on, right?
Yeah.
Put the mask on. Put it over their whole head if they need to.
That's
put the
like
bandana.
a burqa.
Yeah, exactly. So there's ways around it, I guess, out here, But I'm sure people are going crazy. Look, I'm low maintenance. I don't wear makeup. I don't need a haircut. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
All time.
Yeah. No, me too. I'm like an extra from Game of Thrones right now. Look at the beard, it's a fucking disaster. But you wonder, like those plastic surgeons, they're all. I mean, that money, the money that pours into that industry is now shut down. I mean, and there's upkeep, and you're not getting that. I mean, that can get dangerous too, right? If certain parts of your body are enhanced, right? Don't you need? I
think
don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, look, you go watch the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Maybe you'll get some ideas on what they're dealing with. I have no idea, but I think they go in regularly, once a month, for an injection of some sort and some upkeep.
Like Jiffy Lube. I love that show, by the way. I love it. Yeah. We watch the Housewives. Yeah, I like all that stuff. It's nonsense. I love it all. Mike will tell you. In terms of reality television, it's junk food. I get it, but I mean, I like it. So we're gonna staying with the LA theme here, and you guys may have your own stories. So it comes out that, and I don't know why lately, everyone's been ganging up on Ellen DeGeneres. Turns out she's an asshole. Can't believe it, right? Can't believe it. So I know she makes a living being that approachable. I give my whole audience cupcakes at my show. I come out and I do my little dance. But apparently her bodyguard came out, said she's a terrible human being. But a bunch of people have said the same exact thing. I was listening to a podcast about The Sopranos, and one of the actors on The Sopranos used to be he ran a comedy club at one of the hotels before he was an actor. And he said the worst, this was just, they were talking about this randomly, and this is coincidence. He said, the worst celebrity I've ever encountered was Ellen DeGeneres. He said it too. So now I'm getting it from all angles. according to my mother, if you're Italian, you say something, it's true. Nobody's ever wrong, right? If they're Italian, so you got to believe him. You've had obviously in LA. So I go to LA. You pick me up at the airport when I went to live out there. You pick me up at the airport. We go to the first restaurant. I'll never forget this. We go to the first restaurant from the airport right to a restaurant to eat dinner. Sitting 2 tables away is Kramer from Seinfeld, right? Like that's just how it works there, right?
So LA.
Yeah, it's just, listen, Jimmy's only taking me to the high-end establishments.
I would have took Chris to In-N-Out, Jim. That would be personal. That'd be me. In-N-Out burger.
Right down the street.
That's it, baby. That's it.
Oh, don't get me started. That's a whole new fast food world. When you get out there, it's a whole new thing. I do feel though that there's got to be, and if you're someone like Jim who's been in that world, living it every day, there has to be at least an instance or two where you ran into someone and they were either very much different than you thought in a good way or a bad way. I got a quick one. I'm out with you a couple of years ago at the convention in Anaheim. This had to be maybe 5-6 years ago, if you remember.
Yeah.
I get on the plane. This is one that just comes to my mind. I get on the plane, JetBlue, first class, of course. JetBlue, I get on the plane. I sit down, and I hear a voice. And I'm like, man, I know that voice. Like, who is that? Right behind me. So I don't pay attention, and I keep hearing it. And I'm like, that is a distinct voice. Got to be somebody. So whatever. I just turn around, and it's Lars Ulrich from Metallica, the drummer of Metallica, right? Sitting behind me. He bought out the whole row, right? The 3 seats. He's got some model-looking chick. She looks like a 17, whatever. And the guy next to me figures it out, and this guy's ready to jump the seat. And now, listen, Metallica was my favorite band of all time, blah, blah, blah. And I'm playing it cool because I know how it is. I don't want to be that guy. Guy next to me is ready to start humping his armrest, right? So he finally can't take it anymore. He turns around, starts laying it on this cat. And the guy was fantastic. Talked to him for 10 minutes. So now I'm like, all right, well, this is cool. Now I'm going to be that guy. Now I'm the second guy. Yeah. So I was like, hey, I just want to tell you, a huge fan. I saw you play Yankee Stadium a couple months ago. Great show. I've seen you 18 times live, blah, blah, blah. So I'm thinking he's going to be like, yeah, all right, just get away from me. He actually talked to me for 5 minutes. It was great. And he was really nice to everybody on the flight. And then, of course, you fast forward about 4 or 5 hours. He's not in the seat anymore. I'm like, where is this guy? Right to the back of the plane where there's that little galley you can kind of hang out with. All the stewardesses. All of them. Guys walking around with no shoes, no socks on the plane. No shoes, no socks. All 4 stewardesses just back in the, I'm hitting the button. Yeah, no. There's no service for you. Yeah, totally in the back. He's got he had the other chick he was with sitting in the seat. No one paying attention to her anymore. But, hey, that's the life you live when you're him. Any experiences, either of you guys? I mean, I've had a couple. That was one that just came to mind. It was probably the most recent. Being a quasi-celebrity, I know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So,
right. Well, I have an Ellen DeGeneres story, which is ironic.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Perfect timing, Jimbo.
I know, it's strange. So my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, he's a federal agent. He was in Cleveland at the time. This is about 10 years ago. He's the type of guy that goes places and just makes connections with everybody. He's just one of those guys. Like for me, I'm like, don't talk to me. He's the one that's making connections. I don't know how, but he somehow gets a connection with NBC Studios, the head of security or something like that. And so he comes out from Cleveland at the time and says, hey, you want to go to the Tonight Show? I'm like, hell yeah, heck yeah. He says, I got a hook with the head of security. So I'm like, all right. And ironically, Hillary Clinton was a guest that day, and it was just security central everywhere. But somehow we were like in the bowels of NBC, just within this security, kiosk type of thing, TV cameras everywhere, a lot of action going on. Didn't check my ID, it's just bizarre. But I was in NBC. We're going to go to the Tonight Show. So we're talking to the security guard, and we're just talking to him and, chatting. And we're like, hey, how's Jay Leno? Oh, man, this guy is so cool. He's so cool. He comes in every day in his blue jeans, his white T-shirt. He's driving a different car every single day, different vintage car. He knows everybody by name. It doesn't matter what job you have here. You could be sweeping the floors. He knows your name. He says hi to you. Just totally cool. Like, oh man, that's great to hear. And like, yeah, how's Ellen? You know, she seems so cool. It's like, this lady's a total witch. Like, what? You know, because you see her, you're like, huh? He's like, she's a witch, the total witch. I'm like, really? Yeah. And so it's hard to believe, but ever since that was 10 years ago, every time I see her on TV, it just kind of kills me, because I'm like, is that real? Is that real? I mean, I heard it from one guy. I mean, look, he was around her every day. You know, they come in every day. They see the same people every day. Said she was a witch. So hopefully I don't get this guy fired. Look, but that's what I heard 10 years ago.
So Lucas, if you have an Ellen story, then it's official.
Well, I've never met Ellen, but I do watch Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Drinking Coffee.
Yeah,
and
me too.
It's a great series, and you guys are bringing this up. It's hilarious. Like, I've watched several episodes. Some are more funny than the others, but her episode with Jerry is very awkward. So I'll just leave it at that. Like, you can tell him he's like rolling in his skin. There's not much laughing going on. It was one of the worst episodes of the series, I would say. So
I'm gonna watch it. I didn't get that one. I've seen most of them. But
super boring. Like, not even exciting. Like, he comes with these cool cars, and he comes with some like Land Rover or something from 1980 or something ridiculous, and she's like, "Hey, cool Jeep, huh? Where are we going?" Like, she looked like she's bothered the whole time, you know. So whatever. Not to bash her, but I've never met her, so.
Well, they say never meet your idols, right? Because they're only going to disappoint you if. Well, I think you got an issue if Ellen's your idol anyway. But you know, those people, the persona is always different from the person usually, other than guys like me who keep it 110%. But that's very few and far between, you know. But the last thing for tonight, and I love how this thing got just kind of thrown in our faces, and it got crowbarred in, and it wasn't a big deal, but it usually probably would be a big deal, except now's the time to just throw stuff out there and just have it go away quickly because everything else that's going on. Apparently, now this is official from the Pentagon, UFOs are real. Apparently that's a thing. Apparently now we have video that got released to the public. Oh, no big deal. I know everyone's in lockdown and people's mental states are frazzled anyway. Let's just throw this at the public. Now, guess what? There really are UFOs. And you know what? We've got a couple, and there's probably, you know, some alien cadavers that we do have. I know everybody joked about it, but yeah, guess what, people? It's true. So to me, it didn't get nearly enough attention because, and I don't know if it was people were like, yeah, we know that already. Yeah, we did. But now I've got cockpit footage and that the Pentagon released, not the National Enquirer, you know, not kooksareus.com. This isn't the guy that drools on himself and lives on a farm who saw this in the middle of the night. This is the Pentagon. So how does that just go? Let's just pop this one in. Maybe that'll get everyone off the president's back. We'll just tell them that UFOs are real. Here's some video. And it was gone the next day. It wasn't even like, you know, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. So to me, I guess quarantine can just supersede anything. You might as well just say anything. Anything. So I don't know if you guys believed it before this. I always did. I mean, there's no way we're alone, right? That'd be asinine. How could we be the only intelligent life planet in the entire solar system, galaxy, whatever you want to call it? But Jim, you are closer to that desert type of area. You're closer to where all this stuff goes down. I don't think you've had any encounters, but I think people on that side of the country tend to believe this more than our side because I think geography-wise, it's just not, you know, the Northeast thing, you know.
He is Venice Beach, though, Chris, too. I mean, let's talk about. There's a lot of aliens that live in Venice. I'm sure.
Let me explain something to you. On Venice Beach, I saw a guy that was definitely an alien. On Venice Beach, this guy was playing Billie Jean by Michael Jackson.
Was that the American underwear guy? The American underwear?
No, not the cowboy. This guy was playing Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. First of all, it looks like he hadn't showered in 18 years. He was playing Billie Jean. He was playing 6 instruments at one time. He had a cymbal on his foot, a drum cymbal. he had a guitar, a kazoo. He had on the other foot a bass drum, and he played the entire song. I've never seen anything like it. I gave him $10. And he was an alien. He was an alien. There's no question. But,
unfortunately, that guy's business is hurting. I was at Venice Beach about a couple weeks ago. It's a ghost town down there. That guy's business is hurting.
Bummer.
Yeah, it's hurting. Yeah, I played for the Las Vegas Stars as the baseball team in Las Vegas. Now they're the Las Vegas, 41ers or 40?
40, yeah.
41? What is that?
Yep. Yeah.
What is that? Nevada, Area 41? That's where they had, UFO stuff going on or something.
Yeah, and that's where they claim it all is. And now it seems like, if you guys remember a couple months ago, there was that movement to storm it. Everyone was just going to show up and storm the gates.
Yeah, that was a couple months ago. Kids from my school were like, "Yeah, we're watching it live." I'm like, "You're going to watch people get shot."
Exactly. Oh, they would have got mowed down. Like a bunch of cavemen just running into a cavalry. Like it would have just been right. Like you start storming. And remember, only like 4 people showed up.
Yeah,
when they actually did.
There's with their iPods and they're like Google Living it, like they're like streaming it live. I'm like, you gotta get killed.
They thought they were gonna have 1 billion people there, storm the gates, get in. They would have been evaporated. Their bodies would have been evaporated if they tried to assault that place. Really? I mean, there's alien technology there. They'll just evaporate you.
Or they could have just waited a couple months and let the FBI just drop the ball on the declassifying.
Yeah, it really does
UFOs.
blow the movement. Yeah,
someone's fired, by the way. Someone's like, "Oh man, did you send that fax?"
Right.
My bad.
Yeah, right. But again, like you're gonna storm Area 51, and so during a game in that area, any hovering craft that you can't identify, you're standing out in the outfield. Do you see any hovering crafts that you didn't, identify?
Yeah, that was on 10-cent beer night.
Yeah,
Thursday, I believe. Yeah. I saw a lot of them that night.
I gotta imagine. Did they have any theme nights? Did they have any dress as an alien and you get in free? Did they do anything like that? Did they pump that up?
No, because we were the Las Vegas Stars. If you dressed up like Wayne Newton at the time, maybe you got in free.
Liberace.
Maybe it's different now, But I mean, look, the aliens. Look, the odds are astronomical that we would be the only life form, right? Mm-hmm. Now, how they get to us, that's the question I have. How did they get to us? Our closest star, right, is about 4.3 light years away. Alpha Centauri.
Yeah.
4.3 light years away. Now, if you could get in a spaceship and travel at about 670 million miles per hour, which is basically the speed of light, you could get there in about 4.5 years. 670 million miles per hour. Wow. Okay, now if you go there in the speed that you know how, which is about 25 to 35,000 miles an hour, you're going to snap your calculator trying to figure out how long it's going to take you to get there. That's what I want to know. How's that happening? Is there some sort of a wormhole? Is the universe overlapping something we don't know about? But that's our closest neighbor. 4.3 million light years away. And the speed of light travels at 670 million miles per hour. How do you get, it'd take 100,000 years at our speed, 200,000 years to get there. Unless we have to, maybe Alpha Centauri though, they're about might be 300 million years ahead of us. So maybe they, what are we going to be like 300 million years from now? You never know. We might figure it out.
They clearly had Google Maps before we did. I mean, they were there. I mean, they're on
300 million years ago. That's true.
Yeah, they're on this. They're on this. I'm convinced they just sent Apple every once in a while. They just send Apple a product, and then Apple would just release it, right? Like Steve Jobs would just say, "Yeah, look what I just made. Here, fire it out." Like I think that was a thing. That was a thing. But yeah, if I know, I don't. I mean, I heard I listened to one of the pilots who had an encounter. And he said the ship looked like a Tic Tac, and it moved like in a crucifix direction at a furious rate, and then it just disappeared.
But don't you want some video, Chris? We want to see some video. We want to see it. Look, that video of Bigfoot walking across the forest is better than this stuff. I want to see some good stuff.
It is.
We gotta have, and that Bigfoot from video sucked. I want to see something better.
I think they're smart. Yeah. I think they're smart enough not to get caught. I think they'll jam us It's, you know, we're way advanced. They're way advanced, way advanced. I mean, we're not close. We're not close. It also seems like, you know what, for at least the time being, they're not hostile. So whatever. I think they're planting people. I do think that there's people walking around that they planted on us. And those are the people you look at and go, what? I mean, I can't figure this guy out. You can't figure him out because he's an alien. So to me, I do believe that. I think, I mean, I might be one. I don't know. But I think that I would assume it's probably just hey, let's just get some information. Let's just, right?
I hope they didn't plant the coronavirus on us. I mean, that's a possibility, right?
Yeah, anything's a possibility. There's people that think, you know, people that think it was made in a lab. There's people that think that it was made by us. There's people that think, you know, there's a million theories out there, right? Like there's 100, thousands, millions of theories. Turns out people ate bats. Let's be honest, probably what it was, right? I mean, that's what it was. So, and for the final topic, you know, I hate to keep coming back to Corona, but Jim, you've had experience in that part of the world from playing in Taiwan and seeing those wet markets. People just going, it's like going to the circus and then eating what you watch. I mean, what explain that. Explain that to people who don't know what that is.
Well, there's these things called a night market, and it's basically a market at night, and people are, you can't be more jammed into these places if you try. I mean, you just can't get more people in if you try. It's and there's stuff hanging there. There's scorpions on a stick. There's stuff on a stick. You don't want to know what it is. You don't even know what it is. It's a block of blood or something like that. It's disgusting. Freaking disgusting. There's chicken feet. There's, you know, I went to a Pizza Hut, and at the salad bar, I reached in with a ladle and pulled out chicken feet. I'm like, well, I know I'm not in America right now. It's disgusting. It's like, I mean, I don't know. Look, there's a lot of poverty. Maybe they have to eat that stuff. I have no idea. But it's not good. And I can picture there's weird stuff. There's cute little dogs in cages. There's turtles. There's snakes. There's people drinking blood. There's people eating cigarettes and then spitting them back out, and they're still lit. Don't tell me how they're doing it. It's not a nice scene. And that's all impressive. Oh, it is. You know, they have a cigarette. They put it in their mouth. They spit it out. It's still going. But it's and anytime you pull out a video camera, shut it down. Like you got top secret stuff. You're just trying to get this thing, this snake in a cage or something. You know, no video. Nope. You know, it's a hot mess, and it doesn't surprise me if that's where something like that came from. It's disgusting.
And they pack in. I mean, they like to pack in.
Right? My wife came to visit. She's like, oh man. It's like, why do they put the food cart by the sewer every time? I'm like, baby, that's not that's the stuff they're serving. That's not the sewer. That's the stuff they're eating. That's the stinky tofu or whatever. Like, but she thought they were putting the food cart by the sewer. She's like, this is going to kill business. No, that's what they're eating. It's a smelly, I can't even describe to you. It smells like fresh vomit. And they're eating this stuff. It's not good business, my friend. Not good. No,
and I know they in terms of personal space, I mean, there's no boundary. I know from going to the casino. I mean, all of a sudden, it comes to a point I got to watch my kneecaps. There's always a 4-foot Asian person. They just go head down like a rhino right through you. Right. They go point A to point B. Whatever's in the middle, they don't care. Yeah. And so I can only imagine. You know, you put some raw game, some raw animals around. It's chaos. It's got to be chaos. I mean, chaos. I don't think we have those on Long Island. I don't think we have wet markets. We got some stuff, but that's just, to me, is just. You know, hey, hopefully we get past this thing. You know what I was hoping? Back to the point of maybe the aliens did this. Maybe they got the cure. Maybe they're going to say, hey, wait a minute. Let me just crop dust this whole thing. Let's get this done. You know, we still got research to do. I don't know. I hope it's sooner rather than later. But if it's not, there's one thing you can count on. You can count on the Take It Deep podcast. It's going to happen. We're going to have happy hours. We're going to do all those things. I appreciate you guys coming on. I plan on and definitely want to continue having, you guys as guests, continue to help drink your sorrows away or make you happy or whatever that does. I'll continue to support the habit with my show if I can. So for the next time, which who knows when that will be. I'm signing off. Thank you for listening. Mike, once again, rock solid. Jimmy, as a first timer, you were flawless. I didn't expect anything less. And keep your palate open for these. If I drop an episode request on you, you know, I don't preach. I don't practice what I preach. I drink the same thing every episode. That's me. I'm in charge. Everyone else, let's just try to diversify if you can. All right, we're a little diverse anyway, but try to diversify if you can. And again, I'm going to drink the same exact thing because I'm in charge. That's how it works. But again, thanks again, folks. We will be back again. Stay tuned for updates. Be well, be safe. Don't eat anything that looks like a bat or anything from a wet market. And hopefully we all get to California at some point in terms of being wide open, being allowed out. And Jim, I need a full dash cam. If you end up doing those donuts in the LAX parking lot, I want to see it.
All right.
Again, thanks for coming on. Had a blast. Be well, everybody.
Peace.